when I have to second guess myself, doubt myself, and that whole energetic state is just one that didn't really feel right. Midway, we kind of forgot where we came from, why we even started this journey in the first place. It didn't feel like a voice that was fearful or doubtful, but it felt like a nudge from my higher self. I think to just be a human with another human being, that is where true healing occurs. Hey chillers, welcome back to the first episode of Chill by Nette's podcast series 3, The Original Magic. Feels really good to be back here after a long while. So this series marks a new beginning, not just for Chill by Nette's podcast, but also for my own personal journey. So it was midnight and I was sitting alone in McDonald's eating my favorite McNuggets after a long day of session, and I heard this voice coming to me, and this voice started saying like, Jeanette, you have reached where you've always dreamed of since 4 years back. But something doesn't feel quite aligned at this phase of your journey. So just for context, for those of you guys who are new here, before I was psychotherapist Jeanette Quack, I was actually a content creator. Well, I started this space back in 2021 when I was going through a difficult period. Back then, I was that girl who had this fire in her belly to want to raise mental health awareness and just really wanted to come on to share a little bit more about my personal struggles in hope to bring comfort and relatability to those who are going through the same. And I guess that was really the original mission that led me onto this whole path. But I guess along the way, I kind of forgot that was my mission. And I guess for many of us, that can be the case, right? Sometimes we started out on a journey, and then after that, midway, we kind of forgot where we came from, why we even started this journey in the first place. And we can forget our original mission. Going back to that voice that I heard in McDonald's, it didn't feel like a voice that was fearful or doubtful, but it felt like a nudge from my higher self. It was trying to tell me that I have limited myself on this journey. I have boxed myself up in terms of what a therapist should do and what a therapist shouldn't do. And understandably so, right? Because of the protocols in terms of our studies and just what a therapist should look like in societal context. And having this at the back of my mind is quite heavy, because every time when I create content, I would really think of my role as a therapist rather than me as a human being. And that creates a lot of weight at the back of my head when I have to second guess myself, doubt myself, and that whole energetic state is just one that didn't really feel right. It can feel draining at times, even when I was putting out my content. A lot of censorship that I found myself doing. And I guess it just kind of made the journey less enjoyable. In doing so, I guess I've unknowingly also muted parts of myself. I've muted parts of my voice. And I think my higher self was able to see my frustration, right? And beneath that frustration was actually this very, very, very deep desire to go back to my core. And by my core, I'm talking about these values, my personal values. And some of them may be freedom, authenticity, love, self-expression, adventure, and many, many other more. Okay? And these values may sometimes contradict with the standard therapeutic protocol. It was true that I was playing safe, sometimes too safe. I felt like I had to put my personal self aside when I was creating content. That I didn't know was so suffocating and limiting for myself. I guess I was just too scared to be judged or rejected by my clients if I was being too personal, too vulnerable, or even too full of joy and playful on social media. Because my mind was just holding this perception of what a therapist should look like, what a good therapist should behave like. There's just another mind conditioning there. So anyway, I was just really afraid of how my clients would think of me, how their emotions may be affected if they are going through a tough time. So I had thoughts like, if my clients see me struggling or sharing my personal stories on social media, would they still think that I'm qualified to hold space for their pain? If I was being this raw, would they still trust me with their struggles? Would that add additional weight to them? So there was a lot of all of this anxious thoughts that was coming up. And I guess these are all valid concerns, speaking like a therapist, right? But it's true, it was really weighing me down. I guess they are valid as well because of a role that I hold and a responsibility that I had towards my clients. But the truth was, no one gave us a rule book on how to behave or how to navigate if you are both a content creator and a therapist. And I guess that made it really difficult to kind of hold an online presence, but at the same time, honoring that passion of being a psychotherapist as well. So I guess it's been a journey of balancing these two roles every day of being a content creator as well as a therapist. But I guess I'm very thankful for the voice that came to me in McDonald's that night. The intention of that voice wasn't to shame me. I guess it was there to remind me. And if I could picture what that voice was trying to say, it probably would sound something like, Jeanette, you're not ordinary. You came here to pave the way. You came here to pave the way that was not already there. And maybe being a therapist is just one of the sceneries or challenges along this journey. Your clients' needs are important, but so are yours. And I guess that felt very liberating. I think it gave me the courage to think about how I can uncreate to create again. And when I say uncreate, it means uncreating the internalized conditionings, the rules that are currently present. And it also reminded me that there are no rules in the universe other than the ones that we have created in our mind. It's a free will universe, and the biggest obstacle that we got to overcome is ourselves. It also kind of just reignited the spark of why I started this space in the first place. I guess when I started Chill by Nette podcast a few years back, I was also in this state. I guess my original intention is to really allow people to know that there's really no rules. There's really no rules in terms of what we should be, what we can be, and the only limitation that is stopping us is ourselves. It just felt like a full circle moment for me. As I spoke to myself, I felt that this was the original magic that had started everything. And to be honest, right now, I feel the same way. I feel challenged and I'm scared. And as I think of giving myself that permission to just be that content creator that I am, which is a little bit silly, playful, wild. Here's what I've come to believe. If we never allow ourselves to be authentic, then we will never be able to form true connections anyway. And by authenticity here, I'm talking about vulnerability. And this term vulnerability, authenticity, they are being tainted a little bit. So just to clarify, by vulnerability here, I'm talking about meeting ourselves with full honesty. It's the kind of meeting ourselves so honestly that is where probably liberation comes from, right? And the ironic part is that, isn't that what my therapeutic approach is all about? That humanistic approach to just be with another human being as a human being, right? To be able to show up imperfectly, to be able to show up not as polished, to be able to bring in raw, genuine emotions into the session, even as a therapist. I think this is what creates the safety for another person to do the same. When you give yourself that permission to be raw, messy, and genuine, that gives that green light and that safety for another person to feel safe, to feel okay, to also bring their full self. And I think to just be a human with another human being, that is where true healing occurs anyway. So I have made a commitment to myself that I could bring more of myself into session. Of course, by saying this is not trying to neglect my therapeutic obligations. So in this love letter, I hope to be able to share the messiness and the joys of being a therapist, the human behind the professional role, and also the essence behind Jeanette Quack. I want to share the unfolding journey of bridging these two different roles and integrating them in a beautiful way. I'm not there yet, but I will, because I know that I'm here to pave the path. And I hope that this podcast series will be a space for me to document that journey and to explore that in real time with you guys. And honestly, just being right back here with you guys, speaking to you guys in this manner, I just forgot how good it feels. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Wow. Thanks for chilling in. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to subscribe. You can also connect with me on Instagram at chillbynette, or my website chillbynette.com to find out more about chill therapy services. Have a great day. and we'll chill together again very soon.